For nearly 8 centuries, the Iberian Peninsula was a battleground of faith. From the mountains of Asturias to the plains of Granada, the struggle between Christian kingdoms and Muslim rulers would shape the destiny of Spain and the course of European history. In 732, Charles Martel and the Franks famously halted the Muslim advance at the Battle of Tours, earning them the reputation as Europe's saviors. Yet the story of resistance began much earlier on the Iberian Peninsula, where local peoples resisted Islamic incursions for centuries. The Reconquista, or Reconquest, would eventually see Spanish and Portuguese kingdoms reclaim lands gradually from the Muslim caliphates that had overrun much of the region. From 711 onwards, the peninsula was a mosaic of cultures, faiths, and conflicts. Muslim forces advanced quickly, exploiting internal Visigothic weaknesses, but remote regions of the north, including the mountainous areas of Asturias and the Basque territories, became the cradle of early Christian resistance. Noble leaders like Pelagius established new Christian states that provided the foundation for centuries of struggle, preserving a foothold in northern Spain. This episode explores the centuries-long Reconquista, highlighting key battles, strategic developments, and the emergence of iconic figures such as El Cid. It sets the stage for understanding how local resistance evolved into coordinated Christian campaigns. Through analysis of military maneuvers, political alliances, and strategic geography, we can see how the peninsula's complex terrain and decentralized communities shaped the conflict. The Reconquista was not just a series of battles, but a long-term social, political, and cultural struggle that shaped medieval Iberia, blending warfare, diplomacy, and the ambitions of emerging kingdoms into a decisive historical narrative. Muslim conquest. By 711, Muslim forces under the Berber general Tariq ibn Ziyad had crossed from North Africa into Hispania, swiftly overrunning the Visigothic kingdom. Landing at Gibraltar, named Jabal Tariq, his army of around 12,000 men defeated King Roderick at the Battle of Guadalete. In just a few years, most of the peninsula fell, save for remote northern regions. As the Muslims consolidated control, the rapid conquest was aided by Visigothic political disunity and local support from certain factions. While Muslim forces were highly organized, motivated, and experienced from campaigns across North Africa, they established key administrative centers in Toledo and Cordoba. This initial conquest set the stage for centuries of conflict as the northern Christian communities resisted subjugation, forming new kingdoms and fortifying inaccessible mountainous regions. Strategic geographic features, such as the Pyrenees and Northern Highlands, allowed local resistance movements to survive despite the overwhelming strength of Muslim armies. Understanding the early Muslim campaigns is critical to appreciating how the Reconquista emerged as a long-term military and political endeavor. Muslim governance included the establishment of the Emirate of Cordoba, later a caliphate, which brought centralized authority, taxation, and integration of Islamic culture, law, and trade into Iberia. The speed and efficiency of the conquest contrasted with the persistence and resilience of the Christian North, shaping the peninsula's complex historical trajectory. Christian resistance. Resistance to Muslim rule emerged almost immediately in northern Spain. The Battle of Covadonga in 718, led by Pelagius of Asturias, marked a symbolic start to the Reconquista. Though small in scale, Pelagius's forces leveraged the mountainous terrain to defeat larger Muslim units, establishing the Kingdom of Asturias as a Christian foothold. This victory inspired subsequent rulers to consolidate northern territories, creating a network of Christian states committed to resisting Islamic expansion. The Kingdom of Asturias eventually expanded under Alfonso I, who captured Pamplona and most of Galicia. Christian leaders developed strategies of defensive fortification and selective offensive campaigns, exploiting Muslim internal divisions and the challenging geography of northern Iberia. Small-scale skirmishes, raids, and guerrilla warfare became hallmarks of early resistance, demonstrating that persistence and knowledge of terrain could counter superior numbers. While Muslims continued campaigns southward and occasionally attempted to expand north, Christian resilience prevented complete conquest. This era also saw the gradual formation of alliances between emerging Christian kingdoms, including Asturias, Pamplona, and Leon. Religious motivations reinforced political ambitions, framing the conflict as a struggle to reclaim lands from infidels. Early Christian resistance combined military strategy, leadership, and social cohesion, laying the foundation for centuries of gradual reconquest and the eventual formation of powerful kingdoms capable of challenging Muslim rule across Iberia. Kingdom expansion. By the mid-8th century, northern Christian kingdoms began consolidating power, expanding territory through strategic campaigns. Alfonso I of Asturias led successful offensives, capturing Pamplona and Galicia. Neighboring kingdoms such as Navarre emerged, forming alliances to resist Muslim forces more effectively. The fragmentation of Muslim rule, combined with internal conflicts in the Emirate of Cordoba, provided openings for Christian expansion. Over time, these northern states evolved from small, defensive entities into more structured kingdoms with central authority and organized militaries. Political unification, while limited, allowed coordinated campaigns, territorial consolidation, and fortification of key passes and settlements. The process of expansion was gradual, involving sieges, tactical raids, and negotiation, often relying on local support from communities wary of Muslim administration. Alliances among Christian kings, intermarriage, and shared military campaigns created a framework for collaboration that would later prove critical. By the 10th century, kingdoms like Leon and Castile had grown sufficiently in strength to challenge Muslim territories further south, laying the groundwork for larger-scale confrontations. Strategic expansion combined military prowess, political acumen, and careful management of resources, allowing Christian states to survive and grow amidst continuous threats. The gradual enlargement of these kingdoms established the power base necessary to launch major Reconquista campaigns in the later medieval period. Battles, setbacks. Although Christian kingdoms in northern Iberia achieved early successes, they repeatedly faced significant setbacks that slowed consolidation and expansion. Internal divisions, succession disputes, and rivalries among nobles often weakened coordinated efforts, leaving territories vulnerable to Muslim counterattacks. The Battle of Aldeaquera, in particular, stands out as a catastrophic loss, demonstrating the fragility of fragmented leadership and how Muslim forces could exploit weaknesses to assert dominance and extract tribute. Even after local victories, Christian advances were frequently reversed, emphasizing the uncertainty of frontier warfare across difficult terrain, including mountains, rivers, and fortified passes. Leaders had to carefully balance offensive ambitions with defending existing holdings, using fortifications, strategic retreats, and diplomacy to maintain stability. Temporary alliances between rival Christian states were often necessary to resist common enemies, while lessons from repeated defeats informed future military reforms, leadership decisions, and coordinated campaigns across multiple kingdoms. mastery of mountainous terrain, adaptation to Muslim cavalry and infantry tactics, and the ability to mobilize local populations became essential. Though the Reconquista was punctuated by frequent defeats and setbacks, these challenges ultimately strengthened Christian resilience, refined long-term strategic planning, and demonstrated that persistent effort, careful preparation, and local knowledge could overcome stronger, better-resourced adversaries over time. Almanzor's campaigns. The late 10th century was dominated by the remarkable military leadership of Almanzor, who became the de facto ruler of the Caliphate of Cordoba. From 978 to 1002, Almanzor conducted a series of devastating campaigns across the northern Christian kingdoms, repeatedly defeating multiple states and forcing them to pay heavy tributes. His operations were characterized by swift and coordinated strikes, often exploiting divisions among Christian rulers and bypassing fragmented defenses to maximize impact. Almanzor skillfully combined cavalry and infantry tactics, conducting raids and sieges that not only expanded Muslim influence but also demoralized opposition forces. The campaigns reshaped the political landscape of Iberia, reinforcing Muslim dominance and creating a temporary strategic imbalance in favor of the south. His sudden death in 1002 triggered a civil war within the Caliphate, leading to its fragmentation into independent taifas or petty kingdoms, each competing for power and resources. This breakdown weakened southern control and opened new opportunities for Christian rulers to reclaim lost territories, initiating a slow but persistent reconquest. Almanzor's legacy illustrates the peak of Muslim military power in Iberia, emphasizing both the efficiency of organized military campaigns and the vulnerability of fragmented political systems. The period highlights the cyclical struggle of conquest and resistance, where leadership, strategy, and internal cohesion determined the ability to maintain dominance in a contested peninsula. His campaigns left a lasting imprint on military strategy, regional politics, and the long-term dynamics of the Reconquista. Christian consolidation. Following the fragmentation of the Caliphate of Cordoba into multiple taifas, Christian kingdoms in northern Iberia began a period of consolidation to strengthen their position. Sancho III of Navarre emerged as a central figure. This unification created a stronger political and military front capable of challenging the fragmented Muslim states. Achieving such consolidation required careful governance, the coordination of armies across different territories, and the management of local nobility, who often had competing interests. Centralized authority allowed Christian rulers to organize coordinated campaigns, pool resources, and strategically fortify key positions in vulnerable regions. However, the death of Sancho III brought renewed dynastic conflicts among his heirs, fragmenting authority and demonstrating the ongoing challenges of inheritance and internal rivalries. Despite these setbacks, the period laid the foundation for systematic Reconquista efforts, with better alliances, disciplined armies, and improved administrative structures. Defensive networks, including castles, fortified towns, and garrisons, were established to secure northern territories and create a reliable base for expansion. The consolidation phase marked a significant transition from scattered resistance and opportunistic raids to organized territorial strategy, enabling Christian kingdoms to pursue long-term objectives against the taifas. It also emphasized the importance of political cohesion, resource management, and military planning in sustaining the protracted struggle to reclaim the Iberian Peninsula. El Cid Alfonso VI. Rodrigo Diaz de Vivar, widely known as El Cid, emerged as one of the most iconic figures of the Reconquista, earning legendary status for his military campaigns and leadership. Serving under Alfonso VI, El Cid played a pivotal role in uniting the Christian kingdoms of Leon, Castile, and Galicia by 1077, creating a more coordinated front against Muslim taifas. His campaigns were marked by exceptional tactical skill, strategic foresight, and the ability to command loyalty from diverse forces drawn from multiple regions. In 1084, El Cid successfully captured the ancient city of Toledo. The successes of Alfonso VI's reign were closely tied to capable commanders like El Cid, whose leadership enabled coordinated operations, disciplined military maneuvers, and the integration of forces across different kingdoms, illustrating the importance of personal initiative in medieval warfare. Despite these achievements, Christian expansion faced persistent challenges. In 1086, Berber forces from North Africa intervened, delivering a decisive defeat at the Battle of Sagrajas and highlighting the continued threat posed by well-organized Muslim armies. El Cid's legacy extends beyond military accomplishments, symbolizing resilience, courage, and the ideals of Christian resistance. His life and campaigns became a foundational myth of Iberian identity, inspiring future leaders and shaping the narrative of the Reconquista. Through his actions, El Cid demonstrated how individual leadership and tactical brilliance could influence the course of history while navigating complex political and military landscapes. Las Navas de Tolosa. The Battle of Las Navas de Tolosa in 1212 marked a decisive turning point in the centuries-long Reconquista, demonstrating the increasing power and coordination of the Christian kingdoms. Forces from Castile, Aragon, Navarre, and key military orders, such as the Knights Templar, Santiago, and Calatrava, united under King Alfonso VIII of Castile to confront the formidable Muslim army led by Caliph Muhammad al-Nasir. The battlefield, located in the Sierra Morena mountains, presented steep and difficult terrain. But Christian forces leveraged superior coordination and tactical planning to overcome these challenges. The army was arranged in multiple divisions, with infantry in the front, cavalry in the rear, and reserves in the center, allowing flexibility to respond to enemy attacks. The decisive maneuver came when Christian knights, exploiting gaps in the Muslim lines, launched a concentrated assault directly on the caliph's guarded position, breaking his command and causing confusion among enemy ranks. The collapse of the Muslim lines resulted in significant casualties and forced a retreat, effectively breaking Muslim military dominance in central Spain. The victory underscored the importance of combined leadership, disciplined planning, and battlefield innovation, showing how coordinated efforts could overcome numerical or positional disadvantages. Las Navas de Tolosa permanently shifted the momentum in favor of the Christian kingdoms, opening the path for systematic territorial reclamation across the Iberian Peninsula. This triumph also strengthened alliances, inspired subsequent campaigns, and marked the beginning of the final phases of the Reconquista, setting the stage for the eventual unification of Spain under Christian rule. Reconquista completion. Following the decisive victory at Las Navas de Tolosa in 1212, the Christian kingdoms of the Iberian Peninsula steadily advanced, reclaiming territories under Muslim control over the next 2 centuries. The Reconquista involved a combination of military campaigns, strategic alliances, and political negotiations, gradually weakening the remaining taifas and later the Almohad and Nasrid dynasties. Cities were captured through sieges, coordinated offensives, and sometimes diplomatic arrangements, while rulers established administrative systems to integrate diverse populations into their domains. The culmination came with the fall of Granada in 1492, marking the end of Muslim rule in Iberia and uniting Spain under the Christian monarchs Ferdinand of Aragon and Isabella of Castile. This achievement consolidated political authority, strengthened the monarchy, and allowed for the imposition of religious and cultural uniformity, including the expansion of Christianity across the peninsula. Beyond the peninsula, the Reconquista influenced European geopolitics, inspiring exploration, overseas expansion, and the eventual establishment of a global Spanish empire. The centuries-long struggle reflected persistent conflict, resilience, and adaptation. The Reconquista left a profound legacy on Spanish national identity, shaping culture, law, and society, while also demonstrating the enduring impact of sustained strategic efforts over generations in transforming a contested region into a unified state.